Fellas, you know Degree Cool Rush deodorant, right? Well, last year they changed the formula, and guys were mad about it. One dude even started a petition. So guess what? Degree heard us, admitted they messed up, and brought the original Cool Rush scent back exactly how it was. And it's in Walmart, Target, and other stores now for under $4. So grab some and remember why its cool, crisp, and fresh scent made it the #1 men's antiperspirant for the last decade. Degree Cool Rush is back, and it smells like victory for all of us.
Reality radio for a really great future. We're talking real money.
Hello. I'm Brother Don. That's Brother Tom.
Good to see you, brother.
We're stoics. We're just stoic. Because, you just can't control everything. You have to concentrate on those few things over which you have some control. And by the way, that is our philosophy. It really, actually, we discovered that we didn't know this, we are members of the Stoic cult. We believe that there is way too much time and effort wasted agonizing over things you can't control, particularly when it comes to money. Money, we understand, is important to you, but you can't control the economy. You can't control the political situation. You can't control certain things that happen in your life. It's out of your control.
Yeah, and I mean, okay, control is overrated as someone who's been trying to achieve it for 60 odd years. But okay, if you have someone
haven't.
No, I know. I was trying to think what I actually have control over.
No, you're
it's
married.
Not even the remote anymore.
Yeah.
I don't even have the remote. I mean,
you're married. You have a dog.
I can move the gravel. I got control over that, but otherwise not much.
Well, although you needed the guy with the truck.
That's true. I got the truck. So let's talk about this because this is something that we both read. You found it more fascinating than I did because I think
found it absolutely because it's such a it's so
telling
true.
People you need to control your emotions. So okay, I tell people that all the time, but that doesn't mean you're going to. But let's talk about first of all what it is, and then what a good advisor should do, and then I'll give you a couple of my takeaways. First of all. Stoicism, right, is simply a separation between what happens to you and how you react to it.
Yeah.
Things are going to happen. They're not always going to be positive. It's the control of those emotions, and it partially, in the article even said this, it's about gratitude, about where you are in your life. And because generally, even when bad things happen to you, you have a lot of reasons to be grateful for the great things that happen.
Well, let me put that in. Use that to illustrate our market. Instead of worrying about being at the peak of the absolute outer limits of a bubble, as many people believe we might be, why aren't we sitting around going, "Wow, we have racked up some terrific returns, which means we can afford to give some of those back and still do quite well for ourselves."
The human experience is what's next, which I think is, sadly, you're right. Gratitude is about sort of saying, here's where I am, and I should be thankful for that. A good advisor, though, if you have somebody helping with your money, they really should keep you from getting too excited or too depressed. Right. Really, they should, because things are awful and things are hugely terrific, and they should say, take it down. Easy does it.
And I got to tell you, in our relationship, I'm Father Stoic. You're just Brother Stoic. Because you do on the show sometimes. You get so excited. Small company, small cap value stocks, they're up like 95%. I'm so excited. And I go, no, stop talking about returns, because if you live by the return, you die by the return.
Yeah, by the way, they're up about 160% over the last year. So there you go.
See, stop it.
Part two is keeping the end goal in mind. I'm not talking about your death. I'm talking about how much money you need to save for retirement, right? Not that end goal where you're going to be not worried so much, and stoicism will not play a big role. A good advisor, by the way, also should not be taking credit for markets. People sometimes call me and say, "Hey, thanks for making all the money." Like, I didn't make you any. If I could, I would. I'd drive past whatever it is.
But I didn't do anything.
And a good advisor should especially be careful about ever saying, "Here's what's coming next," because the advisor doesn't know We've talked on other podcasts about other people that say here's what's coming. They don't know. Their job is to predict. Their job is to create excitement. And remember, you're trying to be stoic about all of this, which I think is the right way to be with your money generally. So, but let me give you a couple ideas I had to help you do that. Number one, I love this one. I read this 4 or 5 years ago. It must have been during another downturn. I think when you're feeling amazing about how much money you've made or amazing about how much money you've lost, you should write down how your emotions feel and then set that aside and pull it back out when the opposite occurs. So you can say, wait, remember, I was crazy. I was thinking I was going to the moon, et cetera. No, I write it down. Set that aside so you understand your emotions when they come
call
up.
the show and we will have it permanently as a podcast and you can go back to it later and go, man, was I an idiot?
Yeah. Yeah. Because we all do this kind of thing. Number two, here's the toughest one for people. I know sometimes I put it in a graphic way. I say, look, you're never going to have as much money as Jeff Bezos. It's not going to happen. So drive the speed for your portfolio that you need to drive. Don't worry about the people passing you. You don't have to stay up with them. You don't have to make as much money.
And you don't
really
have to yell at them on the 405. You don't.
Exactly.
Oh, Tom, that was for you. Tom, that was for you.
That's exactly right. And I do that from time to time.
Oh, you do?
Which I didn't today, so I'm proud of myself. But brings me to the final one, and this is so hard in the middle of whatever's going on in your life, with your money, with the markets, and that is practice long-term thinking. We all get caught up with recency bias. This has happened lately, so it's going to continue, or I'm sure this is going to happen, so I got to do something to respond to it. How many times have we seen that? Oh, thousands. So you got to have the long-term thinking about your plan. But stoicism, I think, is great. I think it's very, for many, unattainable. I'll put it that way.
And if you need a little stoic meditation, give us a call at 855-935-TALK. 855-935-8255. Like this gentleman did, who needs, I believe, some lessons in stoicism.
Hey guys, I'm just sick about a situation. I've been really conscientious about my money, my investments for the last 15 years. And I retired about a year and a couple of months ago. And I decided to transfer my 401k money, my IRAs, over to my brokerage account. And I did it on Tuesday. I pulled the trigger on Tuesday, March 31st. And that generated a check that went to my brokerage. My advisor's been on vacation, was on vacation all last week. So I go to see him on Monday. However, I've lost such an opportunity the last 10 days. I don't know how to get over it. I'm down probably $50,000 through not having my money in the market. They cut me a check. I took the check to the brokerage. It had a few days to wait. And then, of course, my guy's on vacation, so I'm waiting a few more days. And starting Monday, I'm getting back in it, well invested like I've always been. But in the meantime, I lost all this opportunity. Please tell me how to get over that. Thank you.
All right, Dr. Tom. Dr. Tom.
This is a put on, right?
No, this is not a put on.
Okay, first of all, generally when your broker goes on vacation, that's good news, not bad news. Yeah. You probably save way more than the 50 that your broker will. Okay, all right. All kidding aside.
That was kidding.
There is when money goes from an ERISA type plan into an IRA, which just sounds like this is what happened.
That's what happened.
There's no way. Are they getting better at it? Yeah, but is it still? It's still.
There's still a lag. There would have been a lag, no matter.
Yeah.
There would have been several days.
Yeah.
And so it could have been during that several days that every bit of that gain happened, and it was truly a 100% unavoidable. If it happened because your advisor was also on vacation, well, part of that is on you. because you should have, and this is for the future, but you probably should have called the firm and said, oh, my advisor is not there. Whether it's an advisor or a broker, we don't know. We don't know what kind of firm we're dealing with.
Said brokerage.
Yeah, he said brokerage firm, but he could have had a Schwab account or a TD with an advisor. You should have called the office and said, I want to talk to my advisor. Oh, they're on vacation. Is there someone filling in for them, because I want to get this invested as soon as possible? However, let me just flip this on its head. How would you feel if the market had declined by $50,000 in that period? Would you be upset with the brokerage firm for not getting you in so you could suffer that loss, as you should have?
Yeah, that's a very random event. I don't think there's anything to be upset about, frankly.
No.
That's the money does move sometimes, and sometimes it misses markets ups and downs. That's just the way it goes.
I'm feeling more Fraser-like all the time, because this is more psychotherapy than financial therapy. But the fact of the matter is, you don't always win. Sometimes you lose. And you can't be upset about it because it's happened. There's no one to blame, nothing to do.
Yeah. By the way, to say that you lost 50,000,
you just didn't make it.
That's not quite right. You didn't. You missed out on an opportunity, and as Don said, the opportunity might have been down too, especially with the market in a big bubble that it's in. So, have gratitude.
Can you
with the fact
explain
that
on
you're
your show
retired.
how bonds work and how you?
Boy, that was
Again, I would say have gratitude about the fact that you're retiring, that apparently you have the assets to do that. That's how I'd look at it. But okay.
Good answer there, Dr. Thomas.
Yeah. I feel better already.
Yeah, usually you're doubting Thomas, but today you were Dr. Thomas. That was pretty good. I have another one of the written questions. This was typed in and then voiced by our friend the robot. This is a male robot this time because it was a male questioner. Are you ready? Okay.
Yes, please.
I read somewhere that if you missed the best 10 days of the S&P 500 in the last 20 years, your return was around 2.4%. If you stayed invested through that period, buy and hold, the S&P returned around 6%. But what I have never heard you or Paul Merriman, big fan of you both, mention is that if you missed the 10 worst days in those 20 years, the S&P returned around 10.1%. Disclaimer: I am not a market timer and I know this is past in hindsight. But what I want to know is it true that market downturns are worse than upswings in the last 100-odd years of data we have? I do understand that the market is up 75% of the time from the past 100 years data. Sorry for kind of an odd question. Thanks for all you do.
Yeah, it's kind of a unique question because the whole point we try to make when we say if you miss the 10 best days, you ended up dramatically underperforming, isn't to say that you should have been trying to time the market and been in for the best days and then out for the worst days. That you can't make that leap of faith there. That just doesn't work. We're not saying you should be timing it at all. Yeah, if you miss the 10 worst days, you did a lot better.
Yeah, I mean, again, this gets back to the right investment philosophy that I trust really is the one that is espoused by academics, Eugene Fama, French, etc., and they're going to tell you that your exposure to stocks should be dependent on your need for return, your risk tolerance, your need until you get the money, have nothing to do with what might be happening next or happened recently. It has nothing to do with any of that. So that's how I look at it. I mean, do we point out that, yes, if you missed 10 big days, you paid a big price? Sure. But
that's to make a point, though. That is to make a point. And here's the point that we're making. If you look back at the last 20 years of the S&P 500 and you say, if you were out during the 10 best days or the 20 best days, whatever number you use, you'll find that several of those best days occurred in 2008.
Yeah.
When most people were panicking and getting out of the market, they weren't getting in, and they would have missed a couple of those best days. To be out during the worst days requires the ability to do something literally. To be in for the best days is easy. You just always stay in. To be out for the worst days requires you to be able to do something that no one on the planet can do, and that is accurately and consistently predict the future.
Yeah, I think that's an excellent answer. And again, have the right exposure to stocks and bonds for you, not for what is coming or recently passed. I put it that way.
Yeah, because we don't know what is coming. We only know what is recently passed, and it doesn't mean a darn thing about what's coming. So here's the deal. You can call us with your questions at 855-935-TALK 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, or you can send them in by typing them at talkingrealmoney.com, and we will pick a voice for you. You will get a voice, but you may not like your voice. If you like your voice and you want your voice on the show, you can record it too. Particularly, it's really nice if you have a good mic on your computer. Just go to talkingrealmoney.com in the contact form and click the mic button. You can record yourself, and we'll get it, and we'll answer it on a future podcast.
Please do. Please ask others to listen.
Would you like to add anything else before we put this one in the can?
Well, no, the only other thing I was thinking is I'd like to try my voice with the robot and see if it does better than the one I produce. So I might try that for the next one.
All right. Give me everything you're going to say. Just
hello, Don.
Type it up.
Please
and
don't
I will
talk to Tom anymore.
Actually, never mind. I don't need that. I know what you say. I'm just going to script.
I know you know.
I'm just going to script you in the future. I'll put in a couple of little weak digs at me and comment. By
the way, you may need that Saturday because remember I get my second shot on Friday anyway.
Yeah, so it could be the Saturday. The Saturday live show could be a Don solo. If Tom has a bad reaction, is it the Moderna?
Yeah. Yeah.
You the Moderna? Okay. Yeah, he's getting the Moderna shot. I already had my Moderna, and I did have a bad... What time are you getting? What time are you getting it on Friday?
9:45 in the morning.
That is good because my effects lasted about 12 to 15 hours after.
From the time you had it? From the time
I had it.
Oh, okay. So you're saying you're going to kick in soon.
Which means you're probably going to get it. You'd probably be done, but maybe not.
I'm going to go out on a limb here and say I will have no reaction.
All right. Wow.
None. I'm going to be the stoic responder. It works.
Hey, we're going to sit around calmly talking real money.
Talking real money. We hope you realize that the information provided on Talking Real Money is for educational and hopefully enjoyable purposes only. Providing personalized financial planning or investing advice takes time, so please consult with a really good fee-only fiduciary investment, tax, or legal advisor. We know a good one. Investing must always involve risk. In other words, you can and probably will lose money at times. Also, as much as you want it, no one can accurately and consistently predict the future. So past performance doesn't tell you a darn thing about what the future will bring. Unlike many other programs that say something similar, Talking Real Money is not trying to get you to buy or sell any financial products or securities. Instead, the program is provided as a public service by Vestory, a fee-only registered investment advisor. Thanks for listening, and please visit talkingrealmoney.com for more information and disclosures. That's a wrap.